Hi guys, Athena's here, and as promised, we are going to do elderberry syrup. For this season, for our immune system, I figured this would be a really nice, easy project to do at home with kids. All we're going to be using here is some elderberries, some raw honey, but you can also substitute that with something vegan like a date syrup or a maple syrup to sweeten this up. Some water. And then if you want a long shelf life, you can add brandy or vodka. If you are needing to have this for a family with children, you can omit this and just double the amount of sweetener to keep the bacteria at bay. If you can't sweeten it more because of diabetes or something like that, then just make sure that this is refrigerated for, it'll last like 4 months in the refrigerator through the season. And you can just dispense it from your fridge, and you won't have the bacterial growth or anything that you might be worried about with a homemade product. I did want to get into elderberry a little bit with you. I think we're familiar with elderberry. There's a lot of advertisement that we're seeing for the tinctures, and even this is a gummy. I covered up this brand name because, quite frankly, I don't want a lawsuit. But looking at the ingredients here, it's interesting that this has like 4 grams of sugar, added sugars, and the active ingredient, which is elderberry, is some sort of dehydrated powdered form. So this might be kind of what you're getting over the counter, and I'm sure it works lovely, and these taste like little candies. I know, I've eaten some and I love candy, but I don't know if this is the potency or kind of what you want in your home as far as if you're going to heal your own family, protect your own family. You may want something that is natural, that you made yourself, with dried elderberries, and there are many places to source these. We're going to get into elderberry itself a little bit, because it is grown and found in regions that are semi-tropical climate that cools down. So where I found that it grows the best is European countries. And we do grow it in our northern hemisphere here. But if you are growing elderberry by any chance, and you're on a high plateau desert and you're having luck with that, my gosh, leave comments, write to me. I'd like to know how you're doing that. If not, if you're living in a climate that'll support it, like Northern California, the Pacific Northwest, climates that have a bit of a tropical but lots of cool down hours, you will probably be able to grow your own elderberry. Now you can use fresh, but I prefer dried, and the rule of thumb with that is if you're going to use fresh, you would double the amount if it's dried. So if I had 1 cup of fresh, I would use 2 cups of dried elderberry. So I source these. There's so many places online to get this if you're not able to grow it yourself. And I think if you're not experienced growing berries, that might take you a while anyway. This particular, like I said, this came from Europe. This is Albania. It's an organic farm in Albania, Eastern Europe. And if you can find an American-grown organic elderberry, I say go for it for sure. Some things that we might want to know about elderberry is it dates back to 400 BC, is some of the first written accounts that we have of using elderberry syrup. Of course, also there's writings from Hippocrates, which is where we get our Hippocratic oath that physicians take in modern times. And he called it his medicine chest. And I think that's when you actually had like a chest with your medicinal herbs in it. And he had nothing but good things to say about elderberry. So some things that you might need to know about elderberry is it's anti-inflammatory, and I'm sure that you've heard that, and it contains zinc and antioxidant vitamin C. And that's great to know, but what that really boils down to is it prevents damage in your DNA. So if you're more science-minded, then you understand your DNA structure. This is going to help prevent any damage from happening to the DNA. And later, if DNA is damaged, it creates cancer, creates all kinds of disease that, I mean, you'll die from it. Dr. Sebi, I mean, come on. If you haven't heard about Dr. Sebi, he'll tell you all about DNA and plant life and what is bioidentical to you. And so I encourage you to look more into that. But I also want to tell you that elderberry is good for allergy relief, not just cold, flu, and fighting off bacteria. And it'll reduce your fever. It also lowers blood pressure, helps with heart conditions, aids in digestion, slows cancer growth, of course, because we talked about DNA. And then if you are diabetic, it will slow the progression of that. It's good for joint and muscle pain and skin conditions. For you guys with eczema and psoriasis and rosacea, start to look at things like this, like even year round. We're looking at this now because of the season, but look at this for year round. I think it'd be great for you. So what we're going to do is a decoction. If you have taken classes with me and you wanted to do more, advanced stuff, you want to make salves and tinctures and medicines, start with a decoction, which is basically like a tea. So what we're going to do is make a very potent tea. So we are going to we've got 2 cups of our elderberry. Oh my gosh. Get that in there. We are going to add 4 cups of water. If you have spring water, even better. Filtered water, please do. And but if you don't have that, it's okay. Don't let this stuff trip you up. And don't let it trip you up if you don't have the right honey, you don't have the right this or that. Do this anyway, because I think that you become a good medicine maker for your own family and friends. So we don't need to get tripped up. I don't have organic this. I don't have the right that. Often, like I said, this just gets too judgmental and people don't want to do it. And so I'm telling you, go for it. If you have any of this stuff and all you needed was some elderberry, then I think you should do it. And once you get really great at this, then you can start harvesting exactly what you need. I think until then, we just do it this way. We're going to bring this to a boil, lower it way down to a low simmer for about 30 to 40 minutes. And then we're going to catch up and we're going to finish this off. Hi guys, we're back and we have cooked our decoction down for 40 minutes and then let it cool down completely to room temperature. And we're going to finish it up. Now we need to strain it at this point because it's berries with this syrupy liquid from the water cooking down. So you can strain this into a bowl with cheesecloth if you have it. But I really like a fine mesh strainer for stuff like this. It's just a little easier to handle. Cheesecloth, and you got to squeeze it. And if you're good with that and you have cheesecloth, go for it. That's one way to strain it. I kind of like the mesh strainer. And so I'm just going to pour this mixture. Now remember, this was 2 to 1. So if you had 1 cup of berries, it would be 2 cups of water. We had 2 cups of berries. So we had 4 cups of water, and so on. You can make as big of a batch or as little of a batch as you want. Get some of these berries out of here. Oh my gosh, this is syrupy. It looks like a really good berry syrup that you would get at a pancake house. So at this point, we want to, like, you would squeeze it with cheesecloth to get all this juice out. I'm just using my wooden spoon, and we're just going to kind of mush it in there a little bit. These berries don't have to go to waste. You can certainly make a jam out of these. You can put some in smoothies. They're good over a pancake or something like that. So no reason to throw these out. They can be used. We just really wanted to extract the liquid and get a syrup going. So that's pretty good. I think I have most of the liquid out of these. Save those for later. I'm going to probably put them in my smoothie. And then we're going to use a cup of wild, unfiltered, raw, local honey. So whatever that you have in your area, or if you could find someone online that has a beekeeping business or they produce honey, go ahead and order that. But like I said, if you just have regular honey, give it a try with that. You're just starting out just to get the recipe down. And so I'm going to add the honey. Now remember, you can, if you're vegan, use a date syrup or even a maple syrup. But the sweetener is actually, this honey is going to help kind of keep the bacteria at bay. So we'll have a little bit of shelf life on this. I could add a really long shelf life to it, adding brandy or vodka. But if, like I said, if this is going to your children, or, you don't want the alcohol, just double your sweetener. And so we're just going to we're going to work this in and stir it in. It's nice and thick. And the sweetener makes it taste a little better. It's not as bitter after it's cooked as the berries are when they're just dried and in their more raw form. So now we have this nice, look at this syrupy, oh my gosh. So then once you've incorporated all this, go ahead and put it into a glass jar or some glass dropper bottles and put it in the fridge for about 3 months. It should be fine. You can dispense it from there. If you've added alcohol to it, you're going to get a few years, actually, of shelf life. That's the difference, using the alcohol. So here is our finished product, and I put it in a glass jar. And then yesterday I saw a client that is a little more homebound during this time. So I brought her a dosing or two in a dropper to get her through the season. And you can share this with your friends too. I think this is, an amazing plant-based way to handle immunity. And also don't forget, this is good for skin too. So if you're suffering with eczema, psoriasis, and even rosacea, this could be very supportive for that. This is also starting to clear up. I have suffered with allergies where I'm living right now for months, and I notice it's clearing up. My sinuses aren't as clogged. So this is multi-use, and I hope it was an easy project for you to follow along with. Please like, subscribe, and share this so other people can participate in this, and for their own health and well-being, it's a good thing to share. And stay tuned, because this spring we're going to go on the road and we're going to talk to other herbalists in the Southwest and get their take on immune system, healing, wellness. It'll be pretty exciting. So stay with me and share this video. Thanks so much. I hope you enjoyed elderberry. See you soon.